Williams here. Another tutorial here for OBS, and I know a lot of us are having to have stayed up all night Saturday and Friday and all the different kind of stuff to get our services done and ready. And even if you're doing something other than a church service, you may be doing something like a program or a podcast or whatever. I just wanted to touch base with you and give you a some type of input on how to render your videos so that, one, it can render at a smaller file size, and then maybe this will help with your upload. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my monitor, and let me pull up my Premiere Pro. I use Premiere, and this should be able to be done with any photo editing software, any video editing software. I'm going to open up old project here. Hold on real quick. Let me pull the project up so you can see. This project is actually going to be the project that I actually just rendered for this past Sunday. So as you can see here, I have all of my video editing done. It's about a 30-minute service. I'm not going to turn the audio on because I don't want any audio to come through the recording. And as you can tell here, I'm going to mute all these so we don't have anything mess up. There we go. So as I go through, and this is, all of my video is already there, color corrections, all that. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to render this. Obviously, I'm going to render this for upload. Let me just show you my settings that somebody else showed me that completely sped up my rendering time. And I'm actually going to go over to my screen, and I'm actually going to make the monitor just a little bigger so you can actually see my settings and see exactly what I'm doing right here. So to transition this over, yeah, okay, there we go. So as you can see here, I do H.264, and there's a whole bunch of different presets. If you pick on the different presets they have, you'll see down here at the bottom right here, and let me move this up just a little bit so you can see. I'm still going to make this bigger. So to make this bigger so you can see the majority of what I'm trying to talk about here. Let's go here and file size. Yeah, there we go. That should be enough. So H.264 is what I do, which is what I normally do with .mp4. And underneath H.264, there's a ton of custom settings here. There's match, high bit rate. There's match source, medium bit rate. All that just means is that whatever you recorded the file at is what it's going to render it at. So if you did a 4K video, it's going to do 4K high bit rate. If you did 4K video, it'll do a medium bit rate and a low bit rate. So I want you to look right here at the bottom. Notice how, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit so you can see. Notice how the file size has changed. So this one's a 22-minute video, right? If I pick match source, high bit rate, the file size right here, as you can see, is 1.6 gigabytes. And it tells you all of the stats here. It's 1920, 1080, 25 frames a second. It has a software encoding, variable bit rate, one pass, target 10 megabits per second to max 12. So this is variable bit rate between 10 and 12 megabits per second. And then also the audio is 320 kilobits per second. Okay. So if I change this to medium bit rate, look at the file size. The file size immediately cuts down to 500 megabytes. I just reduced the file to a third size by cutting down the file size. If I go to low bit rate bumps it back up to 772 megabytes. This is for a 22-minute video, okay? So what I normally do, let me show you what my settings are. I normally pick, and this is something another trick somebody showed me. I usually pick mobile device 1080 HD, right? So mobile device means that if somebody has an Apple iPhone or a different type of phone, which is what you want it to play on all phones, and listen to why I'm saying this, is because if you have to send this video to another person, right, you want to make sure the video plays on all devices, right, just for proofing purposes. I'm not even talking about uploading. This is just for proofing, right? So I usually pick mobile device 1080, and then I change a few settings to get the file size I want. I've got to stop the video real quick and interrupt it real quick. I know you're digging the black and white vibe. I only have it on black and white vibe because my hair is messed up and my hat doesn't match. But with black and white, you can't tell. So anyways, another hack if you're using Adobe Premiere that you may want to consider is if you have multiple videos to do, consider when you go to the export, instead of hitting export, hit Q. What that does is that will load the video in Adobe Media Encoder, and then that way you can load up several videos at one time and export and actually render all of those videos at the same time versus having to render one or two videos at one video at a time. So when you go to export, instead of just hitting export, hit Q and then go back to doing some other work. Let's get back to the video. So I scroll down here, and this is on Premiere Pro. So you can find the settings in Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve as well, and other programs. Or if you're using iMovie, you should be able to change this. I go down here and I look at my target bit rate. That's what's going to determine my file size. Now remember, you're uploading this video to a social media platform, and for the most part, I believe it's some statistic like 70% of your people watch on a phone, okay? So you're realizing that this video is going to be on somewhat of a device that's going to be, you know, for the most part, a 5.5, 6 inch screen. So it needs to look really good on here. Not saying people won't watch on the TV, because now you are actually finding people are watching on the TV, but some people are willing to deal with the fact that you're streaming a full service. And so as far as the quality is concerned, you're not looking for 4K quality now. And so I admonish you guys in the group not to be looking for 4K quality on these renders, because you're going to stress yourself out. So listen, I usually set my target bit rate at 5, and I don't do a variable bit rate. I do 5 and 5. That will give me a file size of 803 megabytes. It'll also take care of all the codecs I need for phones, mobile phones, when I send this to other people. And also it reduces my audio bit rate to 128 kilobits per second. 320 is actually more closer to CD, like really, really high quality audio. Unless you have like a huge sound system at church that's multi-sound system, that's multi-speakers, you know, all the limiters and all that kind of stuff. 320 is overkill right now. So realistically, this setting will work for me. This cuts my target bit rate. This gives me a little bit more quality that I want. It covers all of the different aspects that I would be concerned about sending this over for people to proof it. And it gives me a manageable file size. So it gives me 800 megabytes. Now that cut my file size in half. So when I go to render this, I won't have to be, you know, waiting, a long time. I want to make sure my bit rate is good. What I'll do is I'll open this file and I'll test it. And I'll actually go here. Let me see here. Let me go into my folder since the screen is already up. And let me click on... let me just play the video, because I already rendered this video and uploaded it, and it actually came out pretty good. I gotta find it first. Crazy. All right, here we go. Why is this taking so long? Okay, March 29th. There we go. So I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I'm gonna turn off the audio. So I don't want the audio playing. So this is actually a screen. Let me make my screen the right size that it was before. So let's put this, let's maximize this screen, and there we go. And let me transition over. Oops. Oh, let me go up here. Here we go. So this is actually the quality of the video that I've rendered. The file size was about, I shaved off something in the audio. The file size was about 700 megabytes. On my computer, I actually have 32 gigs of RAM. I have a pretty strong computer, but even on my laptop, this would only take about probably 35, 40 minutes to render with 16 gigs of RAM. And that's pretty much, how I render my video, so that one, I am not, struggling with being up all night. Another tip that you guys may want to use, and I know this is kind of, a lot of people have said, well, why would you do that? Another thing that you may want to do is you may want to just go live from OBS. This is what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. I go live from OBS and I play my video from my laptop to the live. And what that does is that cuts down on what my computer's trying to pull off for live stream. It's not trying to encode my camera, my DSLR, or whatever camera they're using for the purposes of live streaming. I'm actually able to sit at my desk and play the video from my computer like it's live, and then it comes up live. I run a 5-minute countdown. I start at 10:25. I run a 5-minute countdown. At 10:31, I start the video. By then, there's probably like 20 or 30 people watching. This is an older fellowship. And then when it's done, I watch the video because I know what my cues are. Then I turn it off. The video stays, and then people can share and do their own watch party. And that saves me from having to even upload anything at all. So for those of you who are having to stay up a long time and upload video to YouTube or upload it to Facebook, I just go live from my OBS or vMix or whatever you have, push that live to Ustream. I load a 5-minute countdown video. Sometimes I let it loop to make sure people are watching, check the feed, then I go live, I play the video, and then I cut it off, and it's been working. So if this is going to be an I know in Arizona this has extended our social distancing to April 30th, which is another month. This works out because even for their Bible studies, we just pre-record everything and push it to live, because if you want to have interaction, then I can watch the comments and interact right away. And obviously, if you have a staff, you can do that. But I admonish most of you who may have to stay up late at night and stay up overnight, that switching to pre-record for us worked. And so you guys may want to look at the different ways that you can cut down some of your time of uploading, and also cut down your file sizes. And if you have to upload, because that's what you're being asked to do, that's fine. Just reduce some of the bit rates in the video. Don't do 12, 13, 14, 15, because you're trying to cover that 12% or 20% or whatever it is that's watching on a 4K TV. Most of your people are watching on their cell phones, and so that's what you actually want to be rendering towards. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you agree or disagree, and I hope you guys have a great week. Always, if you need any help, reach out to us. You can reach out to my business page, Creative Studios, or some of you have been inboxing me, which is fine because I have a little bit more time. Or if you need to set up a Zoom, connect with me here on Facebook in the social media management group, and then we'll try to see if we can get you sleeping at night. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. You guys have a great day.
See how soft you really are.